All right, so I purchased this trigger. It's an M&P forward set trigger for the M&P. It's a flat face forward set trigger for the M&P 2.0. The trigger was installed on a brand new M&P 9mm 2.0. Problem that I'm seeing is there's a very limited amount of travel. I don't know if you can see it in the video, but right here between the trigger and the frame, there's a very, very little amount of room. Actually, that's making contact, and that's just all that is the tip of a punch. So it's a very limited amount of room. I don't know if that's supposed to be that way, but what happens is if you don't have a perfect grip on the trigger and you go ahead and try to pull this trigger, what you end up with is what I've got right here, which is it doesn't pull. Why? Because there is still some take up and movement, and you're hitting the frame right there with that trigger shoe, that safety device. Now, I've got a lot of finger in the trigger, and I've got big hands. I think that's pretty typical. That's a pat of the finger on there, and it's not going. So, I think there's a problem with your design, especially if you're going to use this for defensive purposes. Now, if you stick your finger all the way through and you press this first, yes, the trigger will press. But look at how I'm having to turn my hand. And that's not realistic. Not in a gunfight, not if you're selling this to cops or anybody that's going to use this gun to defend themselves. Just saying. Anyways, hopefully you get back to me on the video and just let me know, number one, if I can punch that roll pin out, if there'll be issues if I do that. If not, because that's what I plan on doing. And then just running the trigger like it is. But just something to think about. I think number two, the other thing I want to point out, this shoe on the trigger here, this piece, it's way too pointy and sharp. I mean, if somebody's going to take this and go to a 2 or 3 day class and they're going to be shooting this thing without gloves, you're going to have one hell of a sore trigger finger, buddy. If this is making contact with your finger, this piece right here, sharp. Anyways, just maybe you might want to offer another blade that the end user can punch out this roll pin and install. I don't know if the reason that you make these triggers like this is for liability purposes, but anyways, just my 2 cents. Anyways, hopefully you can get back to me with some answers. Bye.